Hey guys, it's Fi. So, my voice is still recovering a bit, but I thought it's good enough to kind of give you guys an update. So, a little while back, I took a little vacation from YouTube, and even took a break from streaming and stuff like that. I never really created this channel to stream video games, but recently I've just been dabbling in it a bit just to kind of pass time and see if there was anything I was interested in doing online. Needless to say, my main content is kind of coming to an end because I really don't see any audience for it, or feel like it's worth the time and effort to try and engage people anymore about like political topics, or really even like philosophy or religion topics or whatever. And so may not be doing this stuff much longer. I only check in every once in a while anyways, just to see if humans are evolving enough to have intelligent conversations or not, and I think we got our answer. So anyways, like I said, even though this isn't a video game channel, I thought I'd just kind of give y'all a little update of what I've been up to, and then I'll talk a little more about the channel proper here in a minute. So here in video game land, I have pretty much finished my Universal Factory, including the Great Wall of all the parts, the Great Wall of Satisfactory. And it looks like there's big chunks missing, but that's just because everything kind of completes at the end here. But this is pretty much it. This is pretty much the entire video game here. Is once you make all the stuff and the final pieces get shipped off to the great gig in the sky, that's the end of the video game. And so I'm pretty much about ready to beat the video game now. All I gotta do is like start rerouting all of these parts to the final machines. The final machines are over there, by the way, by the Space Needle. You can see that little row of like final boss factory there. That's the final boss factory. Once I complete that, the video game is over. So anyways, you can kind of see I haven't completely conquered the entire world, but I hit all the main points enough to beat the video game. And so not only is my Universal Factory up and running, albeit kind of slowly. See, the only thing I need to do now is just kind of like beef up certain lines that I started, because I pretty much only have one machine per part up and running at the moment. And obviously, if you want to see the video game end within your lifetime, you probably want to add a couple more machines, because it would just take weeks and months to wait for like one machine at a time to make enough parts to fill the order. So that's the final boss of the game. It's just adding enough machines to get it done within, like, you know, 1 day streaming or something like that, which I may eventually get to. I'm not in a big hurry to end the game, because, you know, like I said, I really don't care what the end of the game looks like or anything like that. And you don't really, I don't think you didn't get anything good from the pre-release. I don't know what the final release video, you know, end reward is, but I also probably don't really care, because it's probably nothing interesting or fun. So anyways, the Universal Factory is again pretty much complete. I even started doing the silly stuff, like, you know, put a road in here with little vehicles and stuff like that. and even though I'm never going to use it, it's just for looks. It's just to make it. It's sort of like role playing, you know, like, wow, I'm in a factory that I can have truck deliveries to and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of the trucks. I still think they're janky and waste of time, and it's more for like the role players to feel like they're, you know, role playing stuff. There's a little cart delivery. So here's the little, you know, display road just for giggles. It's not functional. I don't have any truck stations or anything set up for deliveries or anything. I'm not even using my railroads, which if I was really serious about ending the game soon, I would probably get that up and running. So here's the supplies chain of railroads. So basically, you just want to pick a nice central location on the map and then just deliver all of the resources to one universal factory. Or you can do a bunch of satellite factories, either whatever floats your boat, but I prefer a centralized universal factory. And so in order to do that, you probably want to ship all your materials, you know, from all the nodes all over the map to one giant factory in the middle, which is what I've done here. And I haven't even started using my railway network yet, so you know, the tracks go nowhere, so I haven't even connected it to all the nodes all over the map, because again, that's kind of a final game move. Because as far as like building parts and stuff like that and day-to-day use parts, I have everything I need, and it's already automated and, you know, automatically cloud funded. And so I have all the parts in the game, including all the building materials I need. I just finished my personal items corner here, a place to dump all the biomass stuff and, you know, dead animals and stuff, and process them into whatever. Like, for example, packaged biofuel. You see that's already starting to clump up. So, and then this little building over here I like to call the pergola of death. And so basically it's your ammunitions store, you know. So all the ammunition, all the bombs and spike bullets and all that stuff like that, and all the filters you need. Everything's automated and goes right to my personal supply. So I've got all the weapons in the game automated, all the way up to and including the final boss weapon, which is Nuke Nobelisks. Everybody already knows what Nuke Nobelisks do. They're the big boom boom sticks. And I don't even have any in supply yet, but if I did, it would look like this. It's a really slow process. I need more AI limiters and stuff running to make more. Anyways, so like I said, as far as the game is concerned, I've pretty much beat it. There's nothing left to beat at this point. And so, kablooey, that's it. There's the end of the game. So I've automated everything. Everything's up and running. Oh, no, I did want to give you a little tour. I don't know where I got to on the last video I streamed, but I made some significant changes since then. So I'll just go ahead and go through that real quick. So this was kind of one of my main power stations early on in the game. Once I hit the mega oil spot, I started getting all the various types of fuels up and running. Started with a tiny little fuel power station. Then upgraded that to a turbo fuel power station. And then upgraded that to a rocket fuel power station. And then the final boss of power in this game, as far as oil is concerned, is the ionized fuel. And I made a little fuel station for that as well. So I've got all the flavors of drink, sippy drink, completed, you know, from harvesting oil to fuel to turbo fuel to rocket fuel to ionized fuel. So then you start getting into the alien tech wackery, and so I kind of quickly threw this little outpost together, but it's not growing very well. It's already clumping up on top of itself, so I need to go back and make like a nice clean modular universal factory out of this stuff here. So but it's good enough to just kind of show off everything. This is all the wacky alien technology you can get into. And the final boss of energy is this stuff called Alien Power Matrix. So what you do is you plug those into these little machines here, and this is called an Alien Power Augmenter. And so it gives you a chunk of energy, and it like boosts your overall efficiency or whatever. So it gives you like a percentage bonus on top of just a chunk of energy. And without these matrix plugged into it, I think you only get like a 10% boost. But I've got a steady supply of matrixes, you know, fueling this machine, so you can bump it all the way up to 30% per machine. And I've got like 2 machines running. So I've already got like 60%. And you can see that pink line on your power graph. That's what you're getting out of the Alien Power Augmenters. They're boosting your entire world power grid by like 30% a pop. So I'm already up to 60% boost on my total power grid. So you can see my gray line up there is really doing swell. I'm already up to like almost 100 gigs. Gigawatt network. Almost 100. I'm like at 95.2, somewhere around that range. But as you can see, I'm comfortably above any power needs I have in the game, so I'm not really worried about adding any more power anytime soon. Plus, this is a great big headache, and probably even also has pretty diminishing returns, because they already talked about that when they created the final game. They said that as cool as all this sounds, you can see all the bullshit you have to create to make this happen. And so this whole big chunk of extra factory over here is just for these power machines. And so once you get a bunch of these boys up and running, you're not really getting that much power back, you know, because you're using so much power to create all this bullshit. So, which kind of brings me back to the original gripe I had about nuclear power. And so we'll go visit that outpost real quick just to kind of visualize what I'm talking about. So one of the retarded things they did in this game was they got a little too excited about the concept of diminishing returns. And so they designed nuclear power outright as a diminishing return. So like there's almost no reason ever to get into nuclear power unless you're just really bored and you feel like showing off to your friends that I have nuclear power. You know, it's like, it's pretty dumb. By the way, this was my original starter base, and as you can see, it's turned into a salvaged tower of parts because all this is brand new over here. My original OG starter base, anyone who's been watching the series remembers, was here. And as you can see, it's gone. So all that's left are the miners are still running. And I left some of the ramps to get up and down, you know. So, there's really nothing left here of the original base. You got a couple of miners making stuff, and I'm kind of rerouting it to the central main base, but I don't really need it that bad, so I'm not really that worried about it. So the only thing I left running was the aluminum portion of the OG base, because I actually am using it for my new upgraded power station here. And so you can see my original coal factory still up and running, but you know, it's pretty insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So this is all brand new. This is just basically yet another rocket / ionized fuel station, power station. I usually focus on rocket power stations first because they're the most practical. And then once I max that out, I see if there's enough resources handy to upgrade it to a ionized power station. And so this is where I haven't properly tested it yet, but I kind of have a sneaking suspicion that it's not really producing that much more additional power, even though it sounds like it is. Even though I don't think it is. So once again, once you start cranking up these bad boys right here, you eat up a whole bunch of the power that you just created. And so getting back to the stupid shit of the diminishing returns that the game developers thought they were so clever and like, ha ha ha, we're so smart, we're making this game interesting. All they did was like design difficulty into it by making it a waste of your time to make this shit. So, and one of the worst offenders is of course the pre-release and current release nuclear power. And so I did create a final complete nuclear city to prove that point. So we'll just go look at that real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As I clip through the entire base and the rocks. So over here in the north is one of my favorite spots to throw down a nuke city, to illustrate the point how dumb this shit is. And I got a little cold storage over here too, but pretty much this whole area was built just for nuclear. And so they did at least finally clean up their original stupidity of not being able to trash all of the nuclear waste. And so here's the final boss of nuclear waste. It's called a Fixonium fuel rod. So once you get all the uranium power and plutonium power up and running, and then you have the plutonium waste converted into Fixonium fuel rods, there is no Fixonium fuel waste. So once you burn a Fixonium fuel rod here, then you don't have any more nuclear waste to deal with. So they finally, you know, closed the loop here, and now you don't have to worry about your nuclear city producing a bunch of radioactive bullshit that just, you know, stores up or whatever. Unfortunately, as fancy as all this looks, your net gain out of all of this bullshit is about I don't know, like 2 gigs of power or something like that. I haven't properly tested it, but I just did a quick and dirty test just to see roughly how much power you're getting out of your investment. And it's roughly 2 gigs or something like that. I can't remember. It's something pretty fucking stupid, which, again, to the original game developers, this just feels like a giant fuck you to all your fans and the people who bought your game and played this game. So, as I've bitched about in the pre-alpha days, the thing called return on investment is when you have to put all this time and energy and like, you know, sap all these resources out of the game and shit to build this monstrosity. I just call them nuclear cities, because there's no way you can build a nuclear power plant without building a giant fucking city to run it. And so, as you can see, this is like pretty much the bare minimum version of a nuclear city that doesn't produce a bunch of nuclear waste and shit. And so all of the resources and time and energy it takes to build all this shit, you know, make sure all your machines balance and all that stuff, all of this just to get like 2 gigs of power is completely fucking retarded. And so I don't know what the actual final number is, and like I said, I don't care, because I'm not gonna, you know, sit here and research this anymore to figure out exactly what the exact number is. But you know, to introduce uranium into this game is, other than for the nuke noblest, that's the only thing I really got out of this factory, was a steady supply of encased uranium cells, which you need uranium for, which I'm not going to put into my universal factory, because I don't want a bunch of fucking uranium radiating the bus line there. So I put all my radiated bullshit over here, and so that's all you need this for, is this machine right here. You just build this machine and you're done with nuke in this game. Because anyone dumb enough to build a nuclear city because they think they're getting mad gains on nuclear power are as dumb as the fucking developers. And so I wasn't gonna pass final judgment until I saw the results, but now that 1.0 has been released, the final game release, I can definitively say that this is completely retarded bullshit. And to the game developers, I say fuck you right back to you, because that's all this is. This is just a giant middle finger to all of the fans and the people who love this game. Because anyone who builds this, first of all, knows what a fucking headache this is to build this fucking city. They know how annoying fucking radiation is on everything. So, like, I have this pretty streamlined, and you can see that my rad level's already starting to tickety at me. Because anytime this stuff starts, you know, surplusing here, or like power rods and shit, anytime that, or nuclear waste, these little Sprite cans, anytime this shit backs up and has to be processed, this area starts getting radiated, and so you don't want to be anywhere around this while you're, you know, working on factories and stuff. And my system, my nuke city here is pretty streamlined, so there's not like a bunch of waste, you know, just hanging around radiating shit. So it's much worse if you don't know what you're doing. But even if you know what you're doing, the gain from this is complete bullshit. I mean, it's the dumbest fucking thing. So congratulations on getting 2 gigs of power for your grid, and falling for the developers' giant middle finger to you and you were dumb enough to fall for their trap. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about nuclear power in this game. Is fuck you, developers, because this could have been pretty, cool idea about, the trade-off being, the danger of radiation and how hard it is to process it and stuff like that. But if the final result was like, wow, you get such huge returns on it, you can get like 20 gigs of power or something like that, that would make it, worthwhile. Because then it would feel like, all the time and energy you spent to achieve this goal was worth it. But the current numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you. So, anyways, so over here you can see I even threw up another quick little turbo fuel power plant, just as a fuck you to them, because of the I think you need a couple of parts for, I can't even remember why I had oil over here in the first place. I think you need like something, just, like some plastic or something, or some rubber for some random parts in there. And so after bringing oil over here, I was like, you know what, I'll just show you how quick and easy it is to do a proper power station. And so again, the return on this oil power is way better than nuclear, hands down. So yeah, I had like this little oil station set up just for the parts I needed, the plastic and rubber I needed to finish my nuke city. So since I already had oil over here, I was like, here you go, here's a proper power station. So here's not retarded ways to make power, and here's absolutely fucking retarded ways to make power, is to brag to your friends about how you built a nuclear city. Anyways, so I was hoping they were going to evolve and become smarter, but that's kind of the general theme of this channel, is that humans are fucking evil and retarded. And so I'd say this is pretty evil and retarded. Good job, developers. Anyways, there's the tour of Nuke City. So bye, Nuke City. I hardly knew you. Anyways, I don't even care that much about nuke nobelisks, but just to be a completionist, I got all the parts in the game done, including nuke nobelisks. So that's all you need from uranium, is that one tiny little blender making encased cells. And then you're done. You're done with nuclear power, because anyone who builds a nuke city is fucking dumb. And so don't do it. It's a waste of time. I think since the developers were being such dickheads about it, they should have just made it like a negative return, just to show how retarded humans are. Maybe that's what they were doing. They were testing humans to see how dumb they are. So they put that in the game to see how dumb you are, to see if you fall for it. So to make the point clear, they should have designed it so that it never has any positive gains. It's just always negative. Like it's always drawing power from your network in order to do that. I think that would have been more funny. I mean, obviously it's not accurate to real life, because in real life, nuclear is actually a pretty efficient way to harvest energy, and even despite the safety hazards and stuff like that. But this game isn't about real life, because obviously infinite resources don't teach you anything about real life capitalism or anything like that. So, but we've already had that talk. So, and we're not here for politics. We're just here to play video game and have fun. So anyways, here's another sweet little power base I created, like I said, out of rocket fuel and ionized fuel. Pretty soon I will do a test on the nitro to ion upgrade. And so, as far as I can tell, it's not really worth it. So waiting for my graph to clear so I can read the numbers here. But so just looking at a bird's eye view of this, it looks like we're consuming roughly 3 gigs with a maximum 6 gig need. And out of that, we're getting about 8 to 9 gigs. And that is with my power boost. So I would have to go turn off the power booster to get the actual number. So it's actually lower than that. So I'm not actually getting 10 gigs. That's boosted power. So this is why I have to go back and fuck with settings and stuff to get the actual real final number. So let's just say I'm getting like a 30% boost on this or whatever. So let's say it's 30% less. So let's say it's more like 7. Let's call it 7 gigs is what my current little ion edition is making. And so consuming 3 gigs to get 7 gigs, again, is only about like a 4 gig gain to upgrade your rocket fuel to ion fuel. And that's already getting into diminishing returns. It's like, again, this shit starts turning into a headache, especially a lot of the recipes. The recipes for like fancy alien shit starts getting expensive, and it's got like scarce resources and insane amounts of power to make this shit. Mainly like things like diamonds and dark crystals or whatever. And so to run these machines to make power is kind of fucking dumb when you think about it. So, because like I said, these things just gobble up energy. These big loops are power hungry, so, and even these machines aren't cheap either. They're average 200, 300 a pop. So is this worth it? It's debatable. Ion fuel station. And so again, I think the developers got a little too excited about playing a joke on the players and saying, ha ha ha, you thought upgrading all this shit was going to make the game a lot more easy and fun, but if anything, it just kind of keeps it in that grueling grind of just trying to balance shit, because the whole reason of creating a power station is to power your fucking, grid. And if creating a power station doesn't really create that much power, then is it worth your time? And where do you get power, So for now, just ballparking it, I would probably say rocket fuel is probably your friend. So once you reach rocket fuel, I would just call it a day and just max out your oil and see how much power you can get out of that. And if you got a bunch of resources handy, maybe do a slight upgrade, which, like I said, maybe it's barely an upgrade. It only upgrades it to another, you know, whatever, 2 or 3 gigs extra. Debatable, but anyways, there you go. So there is the OG starter base. Now is a final rocket ion power station. Fuck the nuclear city and the developers that made it. And so that's it. That's the end of the game. Just want to give everyone kind of an update where I was in video game land. So I don't know how many more of these streams I'm going to do. I'm not going to do like long ass streams like I was doing before. Just doing a quickie update now, and I may do like a video game from time to time or something like that. But generally overall, I've noticed that the quality of the YouTube panelverse has just gone to shit. So I'm probably just gonna go back to, you know, touching grass and the bunker. I've made significant progress on the bunker, so I'm gonna be spending a lot of quality time there, which is not online or anything like that. I probably won't be doing any of those cutesy little, you know, homesteader videos or anything like that, because first of all, I'm not doxing myself and showing you my shit, so I'm not going to show you where I live and what it looks like or anything like that, but it's a bunch of trees. That's all you need to know. So I got the bunker up and running, namely phase 1, which was to get all the utilities out of the way. So I've got all my off-grid power, water, sewer, and shit tons of land, fertile land to conquer and explore. I could hunt deer if I wanted to for meat, or I could start farming and stuff. You know, I could start planting fruits and vegetables and grains if I felt like it. I'm not quite ready to go into the full farmer phase yet of life, because I'm not that bored, but I may do that later, especially after society collapses and I don't really have a choice. But for now, you know, Walmart's good enough to buy a bag of flour from and shit like that, so I don't plan on sowing my own wheat fields and hand scything them and, you know, having a little donkey turn the flour mill for me or whatever. Not yet. Eventually I may get into that stuff, but for now it's mostly like a little hobbyist stuff, you know, just like create my little off-grid homestead and dreaming of days of conservatoria. So it already looks like conservatory now, because like I said, it's off-grid. There's no evil retards there. It's just, here, I'll try to give you a visual representation. This is what conservatoria looks like. It's just a nice little forest. You know, it's got little trees and water and plants and gardens, and then I'm building my little bunker out there. So gonna spend a lot of time out there just, you know, building stuff. And anyways, one of the main reasons why I kind of was thinking about doing YouTube content was to see if there was an audience for conservatoria, starting with, you know, Christian religion and good old real actual capitalism, not the bullshit politics games that evil retards play and still think that it's a debate that we have to figure out or something. Because humans don't know what words mean and can't learn anything, right? So if you're still debating socialism, you've already failed. You've like completely lost the game. So you should just, you know, go walk into the ocean or something and just become one with the fish or something. But anyways, so anyone who's not retarded knows that capitalism is the obvious answer. And so the only debate left is, how to keep capitalism good and pure and holy. Because evil retards will try and fuck that stuff up too. And so that's the only problem left in life, is to figure out how to keep evil retards from fucking up capitalism. And so once you figure that out, you're in conservatarian and you're like, oh, it's obvious, that this was the answer. So, and then the final boss of politics is the size and power of government, which I recently resolved without the retards on the other end of the conversation, because I was trying to explain it to him that, just because libertarians want small, limited governments, that doesn't mean small in power. It just means like in force. It means small in size of authority. Like, we don't want, big daddy government telling us, what to think and say and do, and wiping our ass for us, and and taking half of our shit for the privilege of wiping our ass for us. And so I'd rather keep half of my shit and just wipe my own ass. And so that's what makes me a libertarian, as opposed to some pussy left-wing cuck authoritarian who thinks that King Arthur is going to save them because they have some delusional view that their bullshit church has the magic powers to access God's one true chosen earth emperor that will lead us to Zion or something like that, or whatever. And so this is directly at you, Ortho Bros. Again, small doesn't mean small in force. It means small in authority. And so now that we finally got that cleared up, if you guys still want to debate me, I'd be happy to explain why you're so retarded and can't understand very simple concepts. And so that was the one, by the way, that was tripping you up for so long. And that's why I couldn't figure it out, because I was like, it should be pretty obvious to anyone with a couple of brain cells, what we're talking about here. And so the fact that you guys got hung up on that for so long shows why you're so retarded. So anyways, now you know. So now that you know that libertarians aren't a bunch of, tree-hugging hippies and pussies or whatever. They just like small governments in authority, not power, in authority. So as far as power is concerned, even in conservataria, we could easily have a bigger, more powerful government than the current U.S. government in force if we wanted to. I don't see the need for that. I mean, I don't plan on, going to war with Russia or China anytime soon. But if any of those fuckers try to invade my country, that's where they would understand the whole power balance, where that comes from. So when you have libertarians who are willing to die for their land, their little bunker in the woods, so to speak, and use any force necessary to do that, then you have a much more powerful government than the current U.S. government, because they're limited to, lefty bullshit committees who have to argue about whether or not, the American citizen is allowed to own machine guns or tanks or rocket launchers or whatever and shit like that. And so in conservataria, capitalism means sky is the limit. So if you want nuclear weapons, great. If you want, Star Wars laser technology, wonderful. Anything you can afford and do, and you can justify the cost, to defend your beloved Holy Land, knock yourself out. So again, this is what the authoritarians want you to think that we're saying. When they argue with libertarians, they're trying to make it sound like libertarians are a bunch of pussy left-wing people that, they're afraid of guns and stuff like that. They're like, ooh, guns are scary. We shouldn't have guns and stuff like that. And that's not what we're saying at all. Libertarians are more than happy to drive around with tanks and jet fighters and nuclear weapons and rocket launchers and laser beams and sharks with laser beams and all that stuff. The point is, we don't want a big fucking steel boot government stepping on our throat in order to have access to this sort of, protection. And so I understand authoritarians have small peepees, and so the way they express their infidelity and their inferiority complexes is by saying Big Daddy government needs to, wipe their ass for them. And so Big Daddy government is the real macho thing to do, as opposed to all these pussy tree hugging libertarians, according to them. And in reality, libertarians are the alpha males that they cower in our presence. They're scared of us. They're like, oh, look at these big strong men with actual backbones and muscles and shit. And so so that's the problem. See, this is the problem with arguing with leftards, is they can't ever accurately represent the debate. They have to change the narrative to make it sound like that's what you're arguing. And so just like the socialism debates, it's all about, changing the narrative to make it sound like, they're smart and cool and macho or whatever, but in reality, they're just evil retards. But anyways, so if there are any authoritarians left that still want to debate me, I'll happily finally clear up all the muddy water that y'all have created. But I think you already know, the result of that exchange. That's why you won't return any of my calls, Jim Bob. But anyways, so I'm kind of done with Ortho Bros now and Andrew's cult and, grifting YouTube tards who think that he's some sort of alpha male type personality or whatever. And that his blood sports somehow resembles any actual form of intelligent debate or whatever. And whatever. Like I said, I'm not interested in the daily drama and bullshit. And so I'm good. I'm just going to slowly start phasing out of YouTube. Anyways, for those that are left, I heard Daisy May has been causing some ruckus. And so I would love to get in on that. So Daisy May, if you're listening, you know how to find me. And so when you are ready for the one true religion, just holler at your buddy Phi, and I'll give you all the deep mysteries and answers to the universe, if I have a voice that day. And as you can hear, my voice is still fucked, so that's why I just wanted to do a quick update today, and then and then I'm going to go ahead and sign off here in a few minutes, because my voice is telling me I've been talking too long. So anyways, there's a video game update. There's a channel update. And again, I'm not giving up on the Conservataria debate. I'm just noticing that there's not really much of an audience yet. So until humans evolve the mental capacity in order to have these discussions, it's like building Nuke City. It takes a lot of time and has no return. So no thanks. Anyways, anyone who is interested in Conservataria and good and intelligent people, I may be the only one left. I don't know. I can't find any others. So maybe they're out there. Maybe they're hiding. Maybe they're just pretending to be enlightened centrists, and they think they're smart and clever because killing half of the babies is the enlightened position of goodness. And so, speaking of enlightened centrists, here's a little message for Pill Eater. You recently recommended a video about horseshoe theory or whatever. I only made it about 30 minutes in before I couldn't stand it anymore. So, horse shit theory is a better way to describe the video you linked me there. So horse shit theory is once again just going back to P.F. Young's enlightened centrist audience, that they think they're so smart because they're more clever than the Uniparty. And by the way, the Uniparty is not horseshoe theory. It's not saying that the left and right wing are the same thing or whatever. The Uniparty is the same thing. They're both left wing, which was the whole point of everything I've said up until now. And since none of that got through, I will make one final appeal to you, Pill Eater, since you seem almost smart enough to have these conversations. Please don't become an enlightened centrist. P.F. Young is not that smart. I know he's cute and he sounds, reasonable and rational and stuff like that. If you listen to all of his deep thoughts, you realize he's pretty fucking dumb, because he thinks centrism is somehow like a elevated, enlightened position because of people that make videos called horseshoe theory that cleverly found out that the Uniparty exists and is controlled by the deep state and stuff. And so anyone who hasn't figured that out by now is too fucking retarded to help anyway. So just like P.F. Young, that's why I don't want to debate P.F. Young or get into it with him, because he's just too dumb to catch up, So he can watch his little horseshoe theory videos and feel like, haha, I cracked the mystery. It was Uniparty all along. So anyways, I already gave lots of lectures on the Uniparty and how the Republicans, the GOP, neocons, all of those fuckers, none of those are left-wing people. Those are your ortho bro types of dudes who think that King Arthur is going to save the United States. And so we just need a bigger government in order to make this happen. And so the current United States government, according to ortho bros and authoritarians, is not big enough yet. We need to make it bigger and more powerful. We need that steel boot to completely crush your fucking throat, just to get the point across, because Big Daddy government, again, needs to wipe your ass for you, because thinking is hard. And, libertarians require too much independence and responsibility and effort and skill and ability and all those things that are scary words that we can't have. So Big Daddy government's going to save us. Just keep voting for more and more bigger, powerful governments. That'll solve it. And so I'm not sure that's what you intended to do, Pill Eater, but that's the direction you're heading. And so at this point, I can't even tell if you're just trolling or whatever, like, Jack and company. By the way, Neurojack and TML, if you're out there, nothing personal, but this latest phase you guys are entering into, where it's just like nonstop, whatever you call it, sniping, trolling, whatever. I don't exactly follow what your end goal is, and so I don't know if you're just trying to drum up some numbers or something, or if there's like a particular group of people you're trying to get their attention or something. I have no idea what you're doing. Every time y'all send me an invite to host a stream or whatever, for the 3 people watching, I feel like that's not quite accomplishing the goal you guys had in mind. And so I feel like it's a complete waste of people like Pill Eater's time, and maybe even Jack, if he can get his thoughts down on paper and coherent and ready to discuss. But anyways, I've already, barked up those trees long enough. So like I said, I don't really have any further constructive criticism for you guys. But again, like I said, I'm not really feeling the vibe, whatever you're putting out there. So like I said, I'm just probably going to spend a lot less time doing this shit. So anyways, I'll still be around if anyone's interested, but not much longer. I think if anyone who saw my last tribunal stream, how well that went, and again, the quality of the audience and panel kind of speaks for itself. So it was fun, Primal. I'm not sure that you're quite ready to provide the feedback I need as a co-host of the panel. And I understand your general message of I'm okay, you're okay type of spiritual but not religious approach to certain topics. I was hoping you're going to be a little more, ready to, talk shop instead of just watching on the sidelines and just kind of chiming in with pleasantries and stuff. And our third judge had a meltdown, which would have been a good opportunity for you to point out that, part of the problem is the mental instability of our audience. And so we already talked about that a long time ago. I remember you and I said that, finding people with stable minds is hard enough these days, but especially on the YouTube panelverse, there's a bunch of nut jobs out here. So if there's any sane people left that, can get the voices in their head to calm down enough to have a conversation, I would be willing to have productive, useful conversations, but I don't see much of that happening anymore anyway. So anyways, I might chime in from time to time on other people's random streams, just say hi and shoot the shit for 10 minutes or whatever. But the main content on my channel is probably going to be somewhat lacking for a while until, again, there's any sort of audience and or human evolution. So when humans evolve the mental capacity to have these conversations, I'll be happy to get into it with them. But until then, enjoy your TikTok videos and your Twitter rants and stuff like that, because that's pretty much all that's left of humanity these days. So on that note, Neurojack, I guess I will join you on the beach and have my Mai Tai ready, or pina colada, whatever they're serving that day is fine. I'll drink either. See you on the beach. Until then, this is your buddy Fi, more or less, signing off for a while. Laters.